Lando leads. Oh, Verstappen cuts. Lance Stroll spins. Piastri's down to 11th. Hamilton battles with Verstappen. Lewis gets a 10-second penalty. Norris pits and gets back into the lead. And Verstappen is up to 3rd. Well, thank goodness nobody thought this was a great big conspiracy. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video, and yes, we had the Mexico Grand Prix. Yes, I'll give it 6 out of 10. I'll give it 6 out of 10 purely for the first two laps. After that it will go back to about 4 really, because it was rather boring, wasn't it? Rather boring, but 6 out of 10 for those first 2 laps. Oh my goodness. Now, once again, the foil hatters have gone absolutely crazy, saying this was the worst example of a fixed race that they've seen in very many years. Yes. Now, I've been around quite a long time now, 56 years on this planet, and I have to say, I just don't get where do they see this from? But I don't get it. I really don't get it. Now, I've seen some things, and I've seen some things in Formula One as well. Obviously, we all know that there has been cheating going on in Formula 1, but there's cheating in every single sport on the planet. Every single sport on the planet has got cheating in it. Yes, because, you know, if you want to win and you can't win, then you'll just cheat, because that's human nature. It's human nature. So there has been some cheating. There's also been some manipulation as well. Bernie Ecclestone himself changed qualifying in 2003 to make the sport more interesting, because people were getting fed up that it was boring. Yes. But these kids today, I wonder if they ever sort of went back to those days and actually looked at some of these old races when they come to the conclusion that the sport is endemically corrupt. It's just, no. All sports have the same problem with people cheating and people taking advantage. We had Benetton way back in the 90s where they were cheating to get Michael Schumacher some more points and possibly a world championship, which didn't quite work in 1994. But you know, well, it did for Michael Schumacher. In fact, it didn't work for Damon Hill. But yeah, so you know, in that respect, it did work. It did work for Benetton. And of course, we had the infamous incident in 2008 where Flavio Briatore ordered his driver to crash into the wall. But there's a huge distinction here. He gave one instruction and ordered him to hit the wall, but he didn't know what was going to happen when he hit the wall. That's completely out of his control. And he might not have even hit the wall properly and it could have carried on going, just a broken wing. We didn't know what was going to happen. We also didn't know that Fernando Alonso would end up winning the race. It was just pure happenstance. But as I say, this has happened before in Formula One. So it's not an untarnished sport, but what sport is. But when they start saying that the whole race was one big conspiracy fix, I'm like, what? Where do they get this from? I don't know. Okay, let's look at the facts. The Verstappen incident. Yes?
Who's on the outside? Who's locking up? Who's going deep and off the road?
Door to Verstappen, who at this point, it's so
crazy. Look at that. Barely keeps it out of the wall. He was braking on the curb.
Clear as day. He went as far over to the left-hand side that he could before he rejoined the circuit. That was clear. He was driving on grass. He had to be very, very careful, but he was over to the left-hand side. So the penalty shouldn't have been applied because he's driving on grass, which would have impeded his progress anyway. So he was making no ground by driving on grass. You don't make any ground up driving on grass because your wheels are just, you're bogged down. A Formula 1 car, don't forget, has got no grooves in it. The tyres have got no grooves. So you do not gain anything if you're driving over the grass, which you had to do because there was no escape road off to the left-hand side there at all. It's just pure grass, basically. So he had to stay on that left-hand side, which he did very, very... he made sure that he was far off to the left, and then he just blended back into the circuit. Now, Lewis Hamilton's incident, you can clearly see there is a runoff road that you have to drive along before you rejoin the circuit. Lewis Hamilton did not, under any circumstance, stick to that runoff road. Now, of course, it's very, very difficult to do that because, as I say, on that runoff road, you've got grass either side. So it's very, very difficult to follow a very, very thin line. That is a very, very thin line as well. So I'm not blaming Lewis for that. But what I'm saying is he didn't follow the escape road, which is, demarcated for you to follow along before you can rejoin the circuit. So, unfortunately, he had to have a 10-second penalty.
Max Verstappen has P3 for the moment. Hamilton locking up and going off and having to take the escape road. And then over the road he goes. Meanwhile, Verstappen and Russell, they're scrapping.
But that's it. No conspiracy. Take your foil hat off, put it in the bin, go outside, sip a nice Red Bull and forget about it, because it's just nonsense. Absolute nonsense. It really is. The FIA are manipulating the championship for Max Verstappen. Why would they even bother? They're probably just as fed up with this season as all the rest of us are, because we're just absolutely done now. We just want this season to finish. If anything, the FIA would be trying to get the McLarens to finish it quickly so we can finally get to the end of this season. They certainly wouldn't be trying to get Max Verstappen to try and, catch up to the rest of the pack, because they're not bothered anymore. There's, 3 races to go after this one? 3 races to go. Everyone is completely bored out of their shitters over this season. It's been a horribly long season. I mean, Max won it, I think, with 5 or 9 still to go last year, so, But this is it's just gone on too long. It's too boring now. Nobody bloody cares. Nobody bloody cares. And all you tinfoil hatters out there, give it a breast now. See, this is the problem. I've said this before. This is the problem when they shut all the mental institutions down, which they did in the 90s, I do believe. They shut all the mental asylums down. And this is a huge problem because now they are out there in the environment. This is people that actually should be locked up. In the real world, they should be locked up, but no, they're out there in the environment, and unfortunately, they're in the worst possible place ever, and that is on social media, because they can just go on there and feed the frenzy, and everyone laps it up. They really do. Oh, they just lap it up. But yeah, it's just a shame that they did shut all the lunatic asylums down, because, as I say, now there's nowhere for them to go, so they go on the internet because it's easy. You can go on, you can make yourself a YouTube channel, you can not show your face ever, you can sprout your bullshit. YouTube doesn't seem to be caring anymore what people say either, which I'm a bit dismayed about, I have to say, because a few years ago you couldn't say anything on YouTube, and it'd be very, very careful with thumbnails and swearing. If anyone was that a couple of years ago, you couldn't swear on YouTube either, otherwise you'd get demonetized. But YouTube just lately they don't seem to care anymore. So I'm a bit dismayed at that. So yeah, you can just make a YouTube channel out, spout as much shit as you want, which is what most of them do. I've never seen so much shit sprouted in all my life than what is coming out of these fringe YouTube F1 YouTube channels. It's just it's laughable, really. It would be laughable if it wasn't so sad, because it is very, very sad. It's very, very sad indeed. It is. But yeah, as I say, that's the end of the incidents that happened. There was no conspiracy. It just happened, okay? That was it. Unbelievable. Anyway, so back to the race. Lando led, of course, from the start because he was on pole position. We got Verstappen, who did his cut. We got Lance Stroll. He spun out of the race very, very early, of course. And Piastri actually dropped down at one point to 11th position. Then, of course, on lap 6, we had the incident with Hamilton where he's battling with Verstappen. And as I said earlier, we had the bit where he didn't go down the escape road, so he did get a 10-second penalty. Then he pits and has to take his penalty at the same time, which puts him right down the field, unfortunately for Lewis, because he was having a good race. Then on lap 35, Norris came into the pit and actually went back into the lead again because he was just absolutely unbeatable in this race. I have to say, well done to Lando Norris. I've been very critical of him in the past, but I have to say that was a world championship drive. And saying that, we now know that Lando Norris has now taken over as the leader of this championship. It's not all over for Max. No, it's not all over because he was ahead of Oscar's pastry. So it's not all over for Max. It's a little bit more difficult, granted, with only a few more rounds left, but it's still not over. But for Lando, that was a championship drive. And of course, we had Verstappen on lap 49. He got up into third place, which was great news for him. And on lap 60, Piastri overtook George off the Russell in a great move. A sort of desperate move, granted, but it was a great move. And that was the Piastri of old. And I don't know where that Piastri has gone. I don't know whether the pressure is finally getting to him, because it does happen a lot. If you are a driver leading the championship, you do start to bottle it as you get to the end. I mean, let's look at Damon Hill, one of the worst championship bottlers of all in 1996. Let's face it, he bottled that championship at least 2 or 3 times before he eventually did win it, but mostly not on merit, basically because Michael Schumacher was in a Ferrari, which was an absolute dog to drive. Otherwise, he would not have been the world champion in 1996, without any doubt. He would not. But Damon Hill was an absolute bottle job, but he did finally manage to do it. And that is what happens when you are leading a championship. The nerves start to set in. There's an enormous amount of pressure when you're leading a championship. That, us as mere mortals, we don't appreciate that. We know they're athletes and mentally they're supposed to, but they're human beings at the end of the day. They're human beings, and you have to expect that they will crack eventually. Yes, so Piastri, he did very, very well there, very, very well. And so that was the end of the race, and the final results of the top 6 was Norris in first, Leclerc in second, Verstappen in third, Behrman in fourth, Piastri in fifth, and Antonelli in 6th position. So that was basically my quick synopsis of the Mexico Grand Prix. So now it's time for everyone's favourite part of the show. Yes, it's time for the point situation, which is looking very, very juicy indeed. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen. The new leader of the championship is Lando Norris, 357 points. Oscar's pastry is in second place with 356 points. And Max Verstappen is in third place with 321 points. They are the 3 championship contenders. It has to be said there because they're both in the 300s. George and Russell is way behind with 258. So they are the 3 fighting for the championship. Now, I'm pretty sure it's going to be one of these McLarens. I don't know whether Max has got enough now. He might have enough to beat Oscar. I'm not quite sure, but it's going to be very, very tight with just 1 point difference anyway. So Max is in third place with 321. George and Russell, who moaned like an absolute bitch during that race constantly. Oh my God. He must have been head boy when he was at school. He must have been head boy because the bitching and the moaning, oh my God. And he's just such a tattletale, isn't he? He really is, Anything that happens on track that is close to where George is, you just know within about a minute you're going to get the little George Russell driver icon come up on the screen, and it's going to be him moaning. You just know it's going to happen. It's just a foregone conclusion. You know it's going to happen. He's such a girly little swat. He really is. Oh my God. Anyway, 258 for George and Russell. Well done. Charles Leclerc in 5th place in the Ferrari with 210. Lewis Hamilton in 6th position with 146 now. Kimi Antonelli in 7th with 97. Of course, a little bit of a contretemps because George and Russell was once again moaning like a bitch, saying, look, please let me get past Kimi because I think I'm faster. And, if it turns out I'm not, I'll give the place back. Well, it turns out that he wasn't, and he had to give the place back. So there you go. And Kimi was sort of coming over the radio and saying, excuse me. I mean, they're both a pair of girly swats, to be honest, the pair of them. But Kimi's a little bit too young, so we have to forgive him, really. He said, we're going to get the place back now. 8th position for Alexander Albon with 73 points. 9th place for Nico Hulkenberg in the Kit Me Up the Al Sauber with 41 points. Carlos Sainz, 11th place with 38 points. Fernando Alonso in 12th with 37. Oliver Behrman in 13th with 32. Lance Stroll in 14th also with 32. Liam Lawson in 15th with 30. Esti Besti in 16th with 30 also. Yuki Tsunoda in 17th. 28 points. Pierre Gasly in 18th for 20 points. Gabriel Bortoleto in 19th with 19 points. And the two losers at the back, Franco Colapinto, of course, and Jack Doohan in the Alpine. Jack Doohan isn't even in Formula 1 apart from as a development driver. So there you go. Those are the latest team standards as we go into, I think, the final 3 rounds. Yes. And I can't wait. I bloody well can't wait. Yes. I'm very excited for the final. I'm actually more excited for the next round because that is, I think, is going to be the deciding factor. The next round of the championship is going to decide the championship because whoever comes out on top is going to be, I think, unbeatable and not going to be able to be caught for the championship. Let's hope so anyway. Well, I'm still gunning for Max, and I hope Max, because I've lent my support for this last remaining part of the season. Not a Max Verstappen fan by any stretch of the imagination, but purely because he's behind and he's got to fight for it. I'm just hoping that he does well. I don't think he's actually going to win the championship, to be honest, but he may be able to sneak a cheeky second there and displace one of the McLaren drivers. He may be able to do it. We'll just have to find out and see what happens in the final remaining rounds of this championship. So there you go, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. You have been awesome as always, and once again, let me know what you think in the comment section. That's what we do it for. Yes, we do it for the comments. Don't sit there listening to me yabber on. Do it for the comments. So let me know what you think about the race, and if you agree with my 6 out of 10, it's really only a 4 apart from the first few laps. But we'll give it a 6 out of 10. And who do you think will take the championship? Let me know in the comments. Who do you think will be world champion with 3 rounds to go? The money's got to be on these top 3. No one else can catch them now. George, unfortunately, is now a duh. Yes, he's like the Eurovision Song Contest now. He is out of the game. He is out of the game. Yes, nil par for George Russell. He's out of it. So it's between Max Verstappen, Oscar's pastry, and Lando Norris. Now, is Oscar going to get burnt again in the next round, or is he going to rise like a phoenix from the ashes? And is that pastry going to be cooked to perfection as he beats Lando in the next round and actually re-overtakes the championship lead? We will have to find out, of course. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. You've been awesome as always. And I'll catch you in the next video.